Hey, hey. Bye, 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 bye. Bye, 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 bye. Yep, again. If you guys saw the movie, you know what I mean. Hey guys, it's me, John Avenger, once again, and welcome back to another review of Franchise Month. And oh my God, was this franchise a long time coming? 24 years in the making. We finally got Deadpool and Wolverine, the freaking 2024 only MCU movie in the theater this year. By the way, this was phenomenal, guys. If you have a problem with this movie, I don't know what you're smoking, but guess what? I don't want any, because I love this movie. Yes, there's some issues I had with the movie, but what issues didn't I have last year with the MCU? There were plenty to choose from. But the movie was freaking awesome. It's Deadpool and Wolverine, and it did not lie. Unlike other Marvel movies and DC movies where the main characters are not even the main characters, this is about Deadpool and Wolverine. And it did the multiverse thing better than The Flash, because I didn't feel cheated at the end. The CGI was better. The tone was better. It was shorter. Gasp! It was shorter. It wasn't 2.5 hours. Yeah. Maybe that's why Furiosa didn't do well, because it was too long. 2 hours and 7 minutes went by like that. It's 2 hours with 7 minutes of end credits. There's one post-credit scene. I'm not going to spoil. This will be spoiler-free, so I don't spoil any of the cameos or who Lady Deadpool is. You already know she's in the movie if you saw the trailer. But yeah, let's review this, shall we? This is the 34th MCU movie, the first R-rated one. Sean Levy definitely got that right. He did not hold it back for a PG-13 crowd. Yeah, respectively, there's also Emma Corrin, but I'll get to her. Marina Baccarin is a cameo here. Rob Delaney, he has a pretty decent role in the movie. It's not in it that much, but he has some screen time. He had more screen time than in Deadpool 2. Aaron Stanford, it was good to see him back. Leslie Uggams, the blind old lady from the first two films. And Matthew McFadden, but again, I'll get to that. In the film, the Time Variance Agency, the TVA, pulls Deadpool from his quiet life and sets him on a mission to save his universe, partnering with a reluctant Wolverine from another universe in the process. And then bloody mayhem pursues. Yeah, it was really freaking violent. Like, there's blood in every scene that has Deadpool, Wolverine, and these other characters. It does not hold back. If Spider-Verse was more adult, it would have been more successful. I'm just saying it, Josh. Yeah, I don't care if you attack me in the inbox. I'm smarter. Spider-Verse would have made $1 billion if it was shorter, especially the second movie, and was more PG-13 or R than I know they're not going to make it R because they want kids to see it, but if it was more adult and not a kids movie, it would have been more like this. The successful movies are the ones that transcend the rating. Joker did that, and so did Endgame, and so did the Mario movie. That was a PG movie that made $1 billion for kids, and yet it transcended because it hit the right audience. This audience was great. They laughed, they clapped, there was a lot of cheering. I heard some really gasp, in the theater. I haven't heard that since I saw Star Wars in the theater. And the movie's already made $100 million, and it's only been out for 2 days. The budget was $200 million. It looks like a $200 million budget movie. Real locations. The CGI is better than half of the movies last year. It's a shorter movie. It's not 2.5 hours, thank God, because I couldn't stand another MCU or DCU movie being overly long. Movies now are just too long. Even R-rated cuts to films are too long. And yeah, it's getting positive reviews. It's making a lot of money, and I'm like, it's gonna break the box office this year. It's gonna be this year's Barbie. I know it. And it didn't have to pander to one group of people to get to it. Pandering to the nerds, there's nothing wrong with that. That's why we go see the movies in the theater, like the Mario movie, like Guardians 3, like freaking the Avengers movies, and Aquaman and Joker and all these other movies that made $1 billion. We're loyalists. We don't betray if we don't run away from a franchise just because it has a few hiccups. DC failed because of that, because they didn't stick the landing. They started off and then they teetered and fell down a rabbit hole. Why? Because they kept making bad films and overlong movies that did not need to be that long, and casting criminals as actors, Amber Heard and Ezra Miller and all these other people. Yeah, that's what you did wrong. At least Ryan Reynolds didn't touch anybody. He didn't grab people by the neck. He didn't freaking assault somebody at the Oscars. He didn't have a failed marriage and then did weird stuff in bed. No, he didn't do that. He made a movie. He produced it. He wrote part of the script. He acted in it, and he made me laugh hysterically. And people thought this movie was gonna flop in 2024 when there's no other Marvel movies coming out. We don't care about Kraven the Hunter. It's not gonna top this. Venom 3, it's a freaking joke because Tom Hardy has to talk like this all the time. No, Cavill, failed. Well, I'm not gonna say anything, but he failed as Superman. That's why he didn't come back when the Flash flopped last year. They're the cameos. Stay for them. Trust me. They're in about a third of the film. I'm not gonna say when, because this has to be spoiler free. I'm gonna do a spoiler filled review or a podcast with my friends eventually, or I might do that as a live stream when I go to Comic-Con. But yeah, this movie's amazing. Problems. Some of the characters get underused. So if you're looking for Colossus to do something, or Negasonic Teenage Girl, or Yukio, or what's her face, Vanessa, they're not in the film that much. They're basically a plot device to get the plot thing. It's Deadpool, Wolverine, and every time they're on screen, it's magic. They're the odd couple of the MCU. It was amazing. They want to kill each other half the movie, and I buy it. Like, the action between them is hysterical, and it works. It made $38 million already on its Thursday night, setting a record for an R rating. See, R ratings can still work if you put the effort. If you don't have to hold back with your stupid jokes that are not funny, like all these gross out comedies that have to shove bad humor in your face and woke things. There's nothing woke in this movie. Nothing. Like I said, the supporting characters, some of them get underused, and the Brits in this movie. I have one for you. This is for Matthew McFadden. Yeah, you're not funny. Please retire. Don't ever come back to the MCU. He gets what he deserves at the end. I'm not going to say anything. And bald-headed Margot Robbie, a.k.a. the lady from The Crown, Emma Corrin. Yeah, I got two for you. You can't act, okay? You got Jackman, Reynolds, and you're way down here. You're not even better than the cameos in the movie. She thinks that she's a Harry Potter character. Like, I'm going to wave my fingers, or she's a freaking Jedi or something. I'm going to wave my fingers and I'm going to shoot you in the sky. Yeah, I've seen that already. I saw Kang do that in Quantumania. I saw Thanos do that too. I saw that in every Star Wars movie. The good ones and the bad ones. You're not going to be better than them. She looks also like the villain from, not the villain, Tilda Swinton in Doctor Strange. Yeah, and she was useless and dies in it. So what do you think her fate is? We'll get to that eventually. But yeah, there's a reason why she's not in the film much. She shows up in about a third of the way through, disappears in the second act, and shows up at the end and gets her ass kicked, just like everything else. Yeah, always doing the wrong thing. Brits always making the movie longer, giving them screen time when they know they can't act. And she gets hers at the end, just like I want it, because this movie's about Deadpool and Wolverine, not your feminist, bald-headed, useless bimbos from the UK. There's a reason Karen, while she shaved her head for Nebula, she committed. And she was interesting. She didn't have to put her fingers in people's faces. This is the middle of a pandemic. Why would you touch people in the face? Granted, it's CG, but, Dogpool was cute. I like Dogpool. She is in the movie for a little bit, so you don't get, like, the cat from Quiet Place Part 2 or Part 3, whatever. And also, the film was short. It went by quick. The jokes are funny. A lot of them were funny. I love the nod to Disney and, Suck It Fox and all that. There's a lot of nods to that where they go, and there's a reason why this movie's making so much money and why audiences are laughing and they're really enjoying it, because it's fun and it's not for kids. Kids, they'll have their movies in the rest of the summer, and in the fall you have Transformers and that movie Harold and the Purple Crayon. You have that to go to. This is not for your kids. I saw one kid in the theater, but they didn't make any noise, and it was a blessing that there was no babies there crying, because the Alamo Drafthouse does not do interruptions. And I clapped a lot. I laughed in the opening credit scene, which is just as cool as the first two. I was dancing in my seat. I'm like, yeah, of course, because I remember the song that was in it. I'm not gonna say what, because you guys got a hint of it in the beginning. I love this film. Imagine John Avenger loved a Marvel movie. Yeah, that's never been done before, right? Yeah, and breaking the fourth wall, it still works here. It's not out of place in the MCU. And also, like I said, this movie does fan service for people that missed a lot of these Marvel characters in both the Fox X-Men and other Marvel properties that came out. Daredevil, Electro, whatever, and a certain cameo that I'm not going to spoil here, because there's a lot of them. There's like more. There's almost as much here as there was in Multiverse of Madness. There's one reference to Doctor Strange. One. That's all you're getting. He doesn't show up in the movie, but they show something of his. But that's it. There's no Wanda is not mentioned. She'll be in Agatha all along, and that will be good. I'm seeing it as its own thing. I'm not comparing it to WandaVision because it's a spin-off. It's not going to be... It's going to be like Knuckles was to the Sonic movies. Its own thing. It's not a comedy. Yuck, 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 yuck. Let's laugh, laugh, laugh. No, it's going to be darker and more a dark fantasy than a comedy. I'm fine with it. Kathryn Hahn's a good actress. She worked her way into the MCU. She was the first face we saw during the pandemic. After New Mutants failed, a year later we got WandaVision. We saw WandaVision and the Neighbors, and we saw Tiana Paris, and then we saw her. So she wasn't a minor character. She's a major part of Wanda's story. And it works. And here, you don't have I'm looking forward to Agatha later this year. I'm looking forward to the Cape Crusader show on Disney, on Amazon Prime in August. I want to see more of the X-Men in the MCU. If they did this for the fans of the Fox era, I can't wait to see what the MCU X-Men is going to be like. I would love to see Caitlin Dever in this. Degrading? Yeah, Josh, you just say that because she did Booksmart. Take Booksmart and put it with a superhero movie. That could work. Just get Katie Zimmerman out of my face. You don't need feminist writers. That's why that movie with Don't Worry Darling didn't do well. It's not Olivia Wilde's fault. It's just that she's got a writer that's a feminist, that's a feminazi, like Kathleen Kennedy. Thank God she had nothing to do with this production, because it would have been tampered with. It would have been a girl boss movie, and that's not what it is. Lady Pool shows up near the end. So if you were looking for her in the first two acts, she doesn't show up till the end. And I'm not going to say anything. There's a nod to Across the Spider-Verse in this movie. Yes, but it's an R-rated version of it. There's none of this pointing and chasing. No, this is a war, baby. A war. And I like how it ends. It's a way without breaking the audience's attention. And I'm like I was saying, guys, this movie's gonna make $1 billion. There's no doubt about it. The violence and the gore and the foul language and the references are not gonna shun people off, because some people are gonna take their kids. Like, how violent can it be? Hey, kids see The Boys and Stranger Things on streaming. What's the difference? This is just a little bit longer. And it's funny. I said I didn't like the Brits in the movie, and some of the characters get underused. That's it. I didn't say the jokes hurt me or they hurt the MCU. This wasn't Deadpool kills the MCU. That's not the movie. That's not it. You guys were wrong. If you thought that was it, you're wrong. This is Deadpool and Wolverine save the MCU from imploding, because they said there's a joke in the movie that made me laugh hard. And it was, even the audience is like, we get it. We saw what happened in 2022. We saw what happened last year. There was some problematic Disney Plus shows, and some of the movies were not doing well financially. We got it. But it's not shoved in your face. It's done well. And the ending, it made me tear up a little bit. Why? I have been waiting years to see these two characters together in a movie that was not for kids, and they went full swing. You see this Wolverine right here? You could barely see it, but you see this? Yeah, you get that in the movie. I'm not gonna say when, but you get that. You get full Logan in this movie, just like in X-Men 97. And I was so happy to live to tell you about that, because I thought I was gonna die when I had COVID 2 years ago, guys, but I didn't. Like Deadpool, I have 9 lives, baby. I keep going. I don't stop, no matter what. And the movie was entertaining. I was sitting there with a smile on my face. The audience was very gleeful. They clapped at the end, not like a standing ovation, but they had fun. They laughed. That's more than I got with the Marvels. It was pretty empty. It's like 10 people were in the theater. This was at least more than 100 people, and packed. Like, there were a few seats empty, but it was packed to the brim, and people were in sync when the movie started, and it was just worth my time. See it. Don't complain about this on Twitter or Facebook, whatever. I'm not spoiling anything. I didn't say anything. I kept it as spoiler-free as I can, because you know how important this movie was to me. These two were worth my money. And the moment the movie started with that awesome song, I was like, yeah, you got me. You got me, guys. 34 movies in, and it's still going strong. This is why the MCU lives. And so many other failed universes didn't even get off the ground after one film or a couple films. Just saying, Marvel does it. Nobody does it better than Marvel. I've been saying that for years, since 2008. And that's my review of Deadpool and Wolverine. Go see it now in any theater. Support this. Don't pirate this movie or see it online. Just watch it in the theater. Go. Even if you pay for a matinee, go see it. Don't listen to critics that are like, oh, there's too much fan service and there's too many cameos. And so, no, it's not too many cameos. It's enough to satisfy you without being cringe. And unlike the ending of The Flash, it's not meaningless. It's not. The ending actually works. And it's not, doesn't end with a stupid joke of teeth falling out. This did it better. And it didn't drag for 20 minutes. And it only had one word of Spanish, which is less cringe than Blue Beetle. And less cringe than freaking some of the scenes in Logan with Daphne King. Yeah, and at least Daphne King, well, you know, she could forget about the Acolyte now, because she was horrible in that. Like, there's nothing she could have done with that. This is why I go to the theaters, guys. This. Not Disney Plus gay woke stuff, not freaking DC movies that are dreary and hopeless and overly long. Because the Snyder Cut did not need to be 4 hours, guys. It could have been 2 hours and 45 minutes. Do the movie the right time the first time. Don't wait years later and do an R-rated cut that's barely R-rated. This is an R-rated cut. This is not a PG-13. Or just, they put the F-bombs off screen. No, they shove it in your face. Every other character says it. Why? Because it's not a kid's movie. They know what movie they're catering to. The audiences that watch shows like The Boys and Invincible and Harley Quinn and Peacemaker. So it's better than Peacemaker. It didn't have horrible dialogue in the movie or cringe humor that I was like, oh, so the British guy's trying to be funny. Yeah, you fail. You're not Deadpool, dude. Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool and will always be Deadpool, no matter who plays him next time in the next decade or so. Yeah, and I love the thing he says to Logan, and what he says to him like halfway through the movie. I'm not gonna say anything because the jokes, you gotta hear them for yourselves to laugh. So that's all. Me signing off, John Avenger. Acknowledge me, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye, 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 bye. See you guys.